It is 5:07. Now, you've been hearing today about how the South Australian government is considering banning social media for children aged under 14. Here is the South Australian Premier, Peter Malinauskas.
We've seen a mounting body of evidence, not just in Australia but globally, that the excessive use of social media within of itself is actually doing harm to our young people's mental health. And then at the more extreme end, what we start to see is illicit content having a particularly bad effect. Now, what all that adds up to is it amounting into some real-world statistics. We're seeing a dramatic spike in childhood depression, childhood anxiety. At its most extreme end, we've seen evidence of youth suicide. And I think we're sort of at the point now that governments have to act. Our responsibility as political leaders isn't to tech giants, it's to our kids.
That was the South Australian Premier, who's considering banning social media for kids under 14. And protecting our kids online can at times seem like one of the biggest challenges we face as a community. And I want to focus just on one element that is cause for concern. It's something a number of parents have raised with me, and unfortunately, it appears it's on the rise. WA police say in the past 12 months, they've received on average 2 reports of sextortion every day. Many of the victims are young men, teenage boys. Now, those figures don't come as a surprise to my next guest. Paul Litherland is a former police officer turned online safety expert. He says this is the fastest rising crime in the world right now. Welcome back to Drive, Paul.
Hi, Jo. Great to speak to you again, and hi to your listeners.
Can we talk about these scams? How do they work?
Well, most of them are coming out of either interaction through online environments, through someone who's purporting to be a friend, or just out of the blue through Snapchat and similar apps like that. The person will engage. Usually it's a good-looking young girl, and the target is usually a young boy. They'll engage. All of a sudden, a photo will be sent, which will be a random photo plucked off the internet. Here's a photo you might like. That boy will go, oh, wow, and then they'll be pressured into reciprocating. So next thing you know, he'll send an intimate image himself, and that's where the scam starts.
And obviously, without giving away personal information, tell us about some of the cases that have come to your attention. For instance, like the 14-year-old who was groomed while playing Fortnite.
Yeah, this young fella on Fortnite, which is a gaming environment, many parents will know Fortnite, cartoonish violence, shooting game. Within the game, you can buy V-Bucks. So 1,000 V-Bucks will cost you $12. But some kids can't afford that, or they won't get prepaid cards for birthdays and Christmas. So this young fella was engaging with other users and saying, oh, has anyone got free V-Bucks I can use to amp up my account? And he was contacted by an online predator from the eastern states and coerced into basically sharing intimate images, nude photos in the bath, videos in the bath, all for the exchange of V-Bucks. So this young fella was getting sort of addicted to that game and being entrapped almost into sharing this content.
Now, Fortnite is a game I'm sure most people who have got young people in their lives are familiar with. But some of the other platforms that scammers are using to contact these kids, I mean, I've got a 13-year-old, I've got an almost 11-year-old, and I hadn't heard of Discord or Omegle. What are they?
Yeah, Discord is one of the largest rising networks in the world today, very, very big amongst gamers. So it's basically a chat environment. So the best way to quickly explain it is if a kid is playing Fortnite himself with a few mates. Now, they don't want to talk strategy within the game because others in the game will hear that. So they'll jump onto Discord, which is a free service, mobile app or website, create their own little chat environment server within there and chat all they can with their mates and not give away strategy within the game. So this is why it's very attractive. So that is a massive playground for many of our predators and scammers these days. And Discord, I'm very proud now to say, Joe, has closed down. Omegle has closed down now. Many of your listeners will know about Omegle. I've spoken about it a fair bit. A video chat site, cam to cam. So myself and a number of other people on the planet have closed that down, which is great. So that's not a major issue one now, but there's other cam sites out there called Chat Random or BazooCam and Chatterbait. What could possibly go wrong? So this is the stuff we're dealing with.
I'm speaking to Paul Litherland, Surf Safe Online, about the rising incidence of scams targeting particularly teenage boys, sextortion. What is the message to parents then, Paul, or to young blokes listening?
From my perspective is to have conversations. Now, they're embarrassing conversations, obviously, to have with your kids, especially teenage boys. But my education, I hit specifically very hard. I hit sextortion within year 8, 9 and 10 kids, because they're the ones who are predominantly doing it, unfortunately, and being targeted. So now these are quite confronting presentations, but we have a laugh, we have a giggle about it while still hitting the key messages very hard. So mum and dad in particular need to really get into just sharing examples, and I've got a lot of examples on my LinkedIn and my socials myself that share this sort of stuff. I've also got a page dedicated on my Surf Online Safe website, which covers it as well specifically.
So if you're finding that conversation hard to start, you've got some ways into it that'll help parents have that conversation.
And check this out, and we're hearing it a lot on the radio now, TV as well. So just broaching those conversations, mate. Has anyone approached you online that way, or oh yeah, I get these messages all the time, mum or dad. So really engage in those conversations, because we've got to bring this to the forefront. Sadly, a lot of our teenage boys will not report. It's only 11 to 14%. So we just got to really spark those conversations.
Yeah, because there's shame involved.
Of course, 100%. And you play that first audio at the start, and we talk about the rise, 300%. Some people are quoting. Myself personally, Joe, I've seen an 1,100% increase in the last 4 years of teenage boys reporting to me. Now, number one, as much as that's a horrible spike, it makes me so proud that these boys are contacting me because they've got the courage to do that. But it's quite concerning that this is the tip of an iceberg. We really don't know how deep it's going.
And the consequences are about as dire as they can be. I was reading, I think only last weekend, an opinion piece from a father who lost his son because his son took his life.
Yeah, I read that this afternoon myself, and it's brutal. I've had 11 children I've been working with in the last 7 or 8 years who've made that terrible decision, and it's heartbreaking. And a lot of people question, why are they so quick to do that, or why do they make that decision? This is, when you and I were kids, mate, we would make errors of judgment, but our errors of judgment would stay confined. One of my boys who was a year 10 and got caught up on Omegle, got video captured of him doing the business in front of the camera, and the first message to him was, we're going to send this to your entire mates. Shared with him a photo of his team football club photo. So this poor young fella, imagine being a 14-year-old kid in your dorm at school, and all your footy mates are going to see that. It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Paul, thank you for that. Paul Litherland, Surf Safe Online. And if you've had experience with this, you can send a text 0437 922 720. It's 5:15.